Yo, it's ESCOTT. Oh, why do I have this? Well, let's see. Not only do I need this, I will also be needing this. Because I'm reviewing the 2019 film Girl on the Third Floor starring CM Punk. I've been trying to get a hold of this movie for months since it came out on Blu-ray and DVD. Haven't been able to find it. My Walmart didn't fucking have it, so I found it on Netflix. So I thought I'd check it out. And you know what? It's an interesting flick. It's about this guy named Don, played by CM Punk, who's moving into this house with his wife, and his wife is pregnant. Yes, I know that's 2 movies in a row with a pregnant woman. What are the odds? But, so he's gonna head to this house to fix it up. And once he starts going to as soon as he starts moving to this house and start, fixing it up and stuff, weird things start to happen. Now, I can sort of relate to a film like this. Because when I was in 8th grade, we moved to a house that I swear was haunted. But I could never prove it. I'd be in my room sitting there, and I'd see someone walk in the hallway, there'd be no one there. I'd hear creaking noises, and there'd be nothing. To which my mom would say, oh, it's an old house, it's just settling. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, the door to what we call the toy room would be wide open. And everyone is sound asleep. That house was haunted. I know it was. Because I had constantly had nightmares in that house. Horrible nightmares that stopped as soon as I moved out here. I still have the occasional nightmare once in a while, but nothing like what I had when I lived in that house. There was something to that house. And no one ever believed me. I kept quiet of it because I didn't want to, I stopped after a while because I knew what was going on. No one else believed me. So, it's a haunted house. It's not really fully explained. It's explained that there's some kind of brothel there back in the 50s or something. And someone was murdered. They did some weird things. And the spirits, it's really weird. And at first I thought, oh, okay, so CM Punk and the actress who played his wife were never in the same place at the same time. And it's still possible. Because we only really see, like from perspective. Like, we only see her in one shot, and then we see him in another shot. So it's like they're never really on set together. Maybe they were. I don't know. But yeah, and things really start to start to get going when Don decides to sleep with this woman that he meets outside his house named Sarah. She seduces him, he goes for it, and he sleeps with her. And then it starts to get weird. She starts showing up at the house randomly. His friend Milo comes over to help with the renovations, and she tells Milo that she's his assistant. And then he threatens her to go away. Milo sees this, and he's forced to confess to Milo that he slept with her. And he asks him not to say anything, but Milo says he's not sure he can do that. And so then CM Punk goes to go somewhere, and says, when I come back, if you're going to be like this, don't be here when I come back. He comes back. Milo's not there because Sarah killed him in the basement. And we kind of see his head later. And gets to the point where Don decides he's going to kill Sarah. So he does. He puts her body in the basement. I don't know what he's going to do. He starts throwing stuff in. I don't know. Maybe so it won't stink. I don't know. But then the body's gone. Okay, so a couple positives here. Despite what other YouTube reviewers are saying, CM Punk does a good job in this. I think he is great at portraying this character. Yes, it's not the best character. Usually horror characters, there's a good guy, there's a bad guy. But this is a morally gray guy. He does not hesitate to sleep with this woman. He wanted one last hurrah. That's what he wanted. And unfortunately, he got more than what he bargained for. And the one thing that is weird for me is because CM Punk is straight edge, which means he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do drugs. And his character, Don, he's smoking, he's drinking, he's cheating on his wife, which is not who CM Punk is at all. And you can say, oh, that's bullshit he created for his wrestling persona. But no, he has it tattooed all over him. Watch the fucking documentary on the CM Punk DVD. It's a real thing. He is really like that. It's not some storyline bullshit that he made up. He really is like that. Now, where the film kind of loses me is after they decide to kill Don off and his wife just shows up out of nowhere. And it's all spurred on by this. They use this framing device that he and his wife are communicating through a video call. And you just know that something is going to happen with these video calls because they keep doing it. He doesn't answer the phone thing like this. He does it like this all the time. And eventually, yes, Sarah does walk in the background and his wife notices it. She can't really make out what it is, but she knows there's something there. So, it really takes a turn when the wife shows up because Don is killed off screen. There's some practical effects and gore in this, but a lot is off screen. And it's rated R, but I don't think it would be if they just took out some swearing words. They say the F word constantly and shit and stuff like that. But if you took that out, it could be PG-13. A lot of cutaway kills. There's minimum gore for what they have. It's decent. And there's not even a sex scene. Because, maybe CM Punk didn't want to do a sex scene. I don't know. But, when she seduces him, all we see is that he puts the dog out of the door, shuts the door, and then we hear, giggling and stuff, and then it cuts to them already in clothes and saying, well, that was fun, whatever. I'm like, really, you can't just put a sex scene in? There's another scene where he's, hallucinating that he's having sex with his wife, but they're both fully clothed. He's got no shirt on or something, but both somewhat, nothing showing. No ass cheeks or anything, no tits. And it switches back and forth between the wife and Sarah, stuff like that. It's really weird. And it gets even weirder once the wife shows up and the house starts getting real haunted and Sarah starts going after her and there's all these ghost spirits showing up in the house. It's really weird. And then she goes into the bedroom where her husband was staying. She locks the door. And then her husband comes out of the closet. Don comes out of the closet, and he's sitting there. He's got a bunch of, because I guess marbles went into his body, and he tried to use a X-Acto knife or whatever, a box cutter to cut him out. And he confesses what he did to her, that he cheated on her, And he says that he just needs her to forgive her. And she doesn't, and it just cuts through the face, and it's Sarah underneath. And it's what really fucking happened to Don? Is he dead? There's no body. And then, she goes outside, she talks to this neighbor lady who works at this church across the street and was talking to Don earlier in the film. And she knew everything about the house. It's never specifically said what goes on with this house, but she knows everything that went on with the house. And then after the wife stands up to Sarah, I guess she's able to live there? Because they find, some kind of small body. They break open the thing, take a small body, and they bury it. I don't know. And then it cuts to 6 months later, where she's still living in the house. She has their daughter, and then she lays the daughter down for a nap. She leaves, and then you see Dawn up there dropping marbles down, and you're going, "That's my girl," which was shown earlier, which was said earlier in a brothel scene, which it sounded like CM Punk too. I don't know. It's a confusing film, but I think that CM Punk was good in it. I think he did a good job. There's a scene where he freaks out. And he's great at conveying emotion. There was one scene that made me laugh, though. I don't know if it was intentional for it to do this, but there's a scene where he pounding on this piece of paneling and it comes off. And he throws it, but it like hits the sink and bounces back in his face. And I kind of laughed a little bit. And I don't know if that was supposed to happen or if it was an accident and they just kept it in the film. I don't know. All in all, this film was okay. It's decently made. It's competent. I'm going to give it a 6 because I think CM Punk was the best thing in it. There's no real story. We don't really know what's going on with Sarah other than she was killed and her body was taken to the train yard to be buried, but it never left the house. I don't know. But it gets a 6. So what are your thoughts on The Girl on the Third Floor? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty. See you in the next one.